Has Canon abandoned us as filmmakers or turned their back on us as content creators? Yes, of course. I'm talking about the Canon EOS R. I mean, they're giving us a mirrorless camera that can shoot 4K because we've all been asking for this, right? Except it has to crop the sensor. Seriously, Canon, what were you thinking? So Canon, let's have a serious talk. Did you really think that us filmmakers, content creators, and YouTubers were going to be happy or satisfied that you decided to put a headphone jack and a microphone jack on a mirrorless body? Are we really expected to be praising you, Canon, for giving us a flip out screen that is also touch enabled? I know. You thought you would appease us by throwing in C-Log, which, by the way, all of us who purchased the 5D Mark IV when it was released, we had to pay for the Canon log upgrade. And who can forget, because it wasn't that long ago, when the 5D Mark IV was released, and still today, the body only is north of $3,000 US. But none of that really matters because the Canon EOS R has a crop when shooting in 4K. And whether we want to believe it or not, cropping the full frame sensor to be able to shoot in 4K hinders our creativity. So Canon knew that there were going to be people who were going to be disappointed, people who are going to feel hurt, people who are going to feel like they completely abandoned us and turned their back on the creator and filmmaking community. And what I believe actually hurts a lot of people is that the disappointment is coming from the company that actually started and created the DSLR filmmaking revolution. So again, Canon, what were you thinking? I think I'm going to lose some friends over this one. So let's drill down into what this so-called Canon EOS R Revolution actually means to you as a filmmaker, as a content creator, as a YouTuber, and as a professional. I'm going to share my opinion as to why it is that you, that means you too, Isaac. No, seriously, I'm talking to you. As I was saying, why it is that you should consider joining the Canon EOS R Revolution. To put some context around what it is that I'm going to say, I'm going to share a personal story with you because I believe sharing this story will help illustrate the commitment, the effort, and the flat out hustle that drives companies like Canon. A few years ago, my team and I had the opportunity to travel on a paid commercial project to Japan. We were there for about 2 weeks. And every morning when I got up and got dressed and was ready to go to work, I would run downstairs, take the elevator downstairs, and then go about a block or so to the Starbucks because they have a Starbucks and I like drinking coffee in the morning since that is my breakfast. Don't judge me. That's just how I am. So I'd go there and I'd get my coffee. Well, on about day 5 or 6 of going through this routine every morning, I actually had an earlier call time, so I needed to be at work a lot earlier than I had been. So I was ready and made my way to Starbucks, and when I showed up, Starbucks was actually closed. It wasn't open yet. Starbucks employees were actually working, setting up the store, getting ready to open. When they saw me, so they saw Bert and I, because we were both there getting our coffee. When they saw us through the window, they waved, flashed smiles, and then one of those employees actually came through the door with small cups of coffee, handed it to us, and apologized for not being open or able to serve us when we showed up. Now wrap your head around that. Why on earth would someone who is working at a Starbucks come out, hand out free product for customers to enjoy, and then apologize for not being able to serve you because their computer systems or their POS systems are not actually talking to the mainframe, allowing them to make a sale, because they all work on a timer, in case you don't know. Does that even make sense? Of course, we, both Bert and I, felt really bad that we just made someone else feel horrible because, one, we were early, two, we don't speak Japanese, so it isn't like we're able to communicate effectively enough to say it's not a big deal and we don't have an issue waiting the 2.5 minutes that it's going to take for the actual computer to come up. It's not a big deal. But we couldn't do that. So here's the second example. In Japan, different day. Basically, during the day, I had time to do personal things, and my actual project was going to be shot at night or in the late evening, early night portion of the day. So we're out exploring. We need to get back. Again, I don't speak Japanese. I don't read Japanese. That's an issue. But I'm able to find a cab because they're all super friendly. By the way, every single cab has white linens on everything. So you will notice exactly how crisp and clean their cabs are. Okay? That's one thing. Two, if you jump into a cab, you never have to open the door or close the door because they take care of that for you. That's pretty impressive too. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't almost ever happen here in the States. So, jump in the cab. I'm telling the cab driver where it is that I think I need to go. I'm using a translator app and I'm showing him a Google map on my smartphone to the destination of where it is that I need to get to so that I could grab my gear and go to work. I believe that we understood each other. I believe he believed that too. And he takes us to where we're going and he stops and I begin to freak out because I'm like, I messed up, right? It's the wrong address. So I show him on the map again and he looks and then realizes that in fact he is at a very different spot, and he begins apologizing profusely, like telling me just how sorry he was. That was the first thing. So I'm trying to calm him down because it's not his fault. I'm in his country and I don't speak Japanese. And my translator app and my pointing at a Google map was not good enough to communicate what it is that I needed. So I understand that it was me who, in fact, could have done a better job to get a better outcome or the correct outcome. Okay? So we go through that little phase. Immediately, he turns off his meter. Who does that? And then drives us to our destination. On the way to the destination, I see the Canon building. It's a huge facility in Nagoya, Japan, with Canon. I'm a fan of Canon, in case you guys haven't noticed. I'm a fan of Canon, so I ask him to please stop the cab because I want to go and take a selfie with the big giant red Canon letters right at their facility, which he does that. So take the selfie, jump back in the cab. He takes us to our destination. It's the correct destination. He again apologizes for taking us to the wrong place the first time. I'm telling him it's not his fault. I'm using the translator app to say, I don't speak the language. It's my fault. It is definitely not your fault. You should have left the meter running. I need to pay you for the full fare because it is not your fault. He refused to allow me to pay for the full fare. So I only paid for that 2.5 blocks that he originally drove us for. And then the second thing, they don't accept tips. You can't tip people in Japan because that will offend them. And the reason for it is that they believe they should strive to do the absolute best at whatever it is that they're doing, even if it's driving a cab, or even if it's making a venti white mocha for a weirdo that's visiting their country. That is a special type of culture and a special type of person. So what does all that mean when we bring it back to the Canon EOS R? Canon called it the EOS Revolution. How is it exactly a revolution? Well, I'll tell you from my perspective, it's actually pretty simple. If someone is starting out as a content creator, as a filmmaker, as a YouTuber, and they look at this system, the Canon EOS R system, here's what they're able to do. They're able to take high resolution, high quality stills. So it's not going to be for the guy that needs, 30 frames per second stills, but it is for those people who are getting started taking images of products, of services, of facilities, headshots, those types of things that allow someone to build a career around photography. Here's what else they can do. They can also make videos. They can make 1080 videos and they can make 4K videos. So I'm going to ask a general and kind of random question. How many channels, how many broadcast channels, satellite channels, or cable channels where you're at actually broadcast in 4K? Am I saying 4K is not important? No. But if you're starting out and you're making videos, corporate videos, interview type videos, talking head videos, YouTube videos, do you absolutely need 4K? And I would argue that today, so this is September 2018, there isn't a pressing need to shoot 4K videos for people who are starting out in the industry. You're just not there. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but if you're going to be shooting 4K, you should be charging more money. And when you're starting out, most of us, when we started out, we weren't charging. We were trying to get experience. So that's what you could do. But because you do have 4K, you have the ability to not just get your feet wet, but actually shoot in 4K, learn how to use the camera, learn how to use those tools, and then work your way towards something else, like the Canon C200 or like the Canon C300 on this side, C300 Mark II. But there's one other factor that we cannot overlook, and that is 422 color 10-bit, even if it is external through the HDMI. Why is that important? Because if you're starting out, what that instantly does for you is it allows you to work with clients who are broadcasting their videos or commercials on your local TV stations. Zero compromise. Broadcast standard, able to capture with the system. You're able to charge more money. You're able to work with clients that your local TV stations, your local cable stations are already working with, which essentially tells you, as someone who is starting out, that those people are used to spending money to advertise. And what you can do is help them elevate their advertising image, their brand, their overall impression to people with this one system. That's a big deal. Of course, if you're starting out, you should also be on YouTube. And this camera is going to give you all the tools that you need to make some kick-ass YouTube videos. You have world-class dual pixel autofocus. You have the flip out screen. You have the ability to connect an external microphone to get it in close to you so that your audio doesn't suck. You have the ability to monitor that audio, and you have the Canon color science. So you don't have to learn how to grade, color correct, and all of that post-processing piece that happens on day one. And what does it mean to you as a professional? Well, I'll tell you, for me, as a professional, someone who has invested a great deal of time, money, effort into learning and investing into physical Canon products, I am glad that all of my lens investment and collection is protected. I am glad that they included C-Log so that I can use a camera system like the Canon EOS R with my Canon C300 Mark II, with my Canon C200, or with the Canon XC15. All of a sudden, that gives me another angle, another possibility at a price point that is less than a 5D Mark IV and less than a 5D Mark IV with the Canon C-Log upgrade. So I am really happy. The other piece that is a huge plus for me as a professional, given the type of delivery that my work requires, is that I have the ability to output 422 color in 10-bit. That means that camera, along with my C300 Mark II, is broadcast ready right out of the box. That is a huge plus. So that's my take. That's my perspective. So there is something that I want to say to Canon, and that is thank you. Thank you for taking care of all of us who have invested in Canon over time. And thank you for making sure that Rudy, in your Canon video, said that this was going to be one camera in the series, targeting a segment of the market. Because yes, I am interested in having a full frame camera that allows me to save the money and not have to spend the Canon C700 FF money to get that kind of image. And of course, if there is any way that you might be able to increase the megapixel count on the still side of the camera, that would also be appealing to me as a professional. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch new videos every week here on this channel. Until next time, I'm Carlos with Media IQ, helping you compete in today's web economy. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.